I'm Ron Wills. This is the Big Idea podcast powered by the National Association of Business Owners and Entrepreneurs. Today's topic is growth, what inhibits growth and what accelerates growth. And my guest is Michael Drobnis from Optfinity. Michael, good morning, and give us a couple minutes about yourself, your company.
Hi, good morning, Ron. Thanks for having me here today. So Optfinity, we've been around for 20 years, and what we essentially are is we are an outsourced IT solutions firm. What that means is we help small organizations use technology effectively. And so we do that. Some people have heard of us as a managed services provider, but we do a lot more than that. But essentially, we become a part of our clients' businesses. We take care of the IT component, so 24/7 help desk, on-site, on-call support, websites, mobile apps. If it involves technology, we act as that CIO and actually get the job done for them.
Gotcha. Okay, so you could go in to a small company, doesn't have the money to pay for their own IT staff, and basically be sort of that outsourced IT staff for a company. Is that
correct? We do that for the small ones, and then for some of the larger ones, up to about 150, 200 employees, we act as a part and do the IT
gotcha.
piece as well.
Yeah, like a support to the IT department. That's sort
correct.
Of gotcha. Okay, so today's talk is on growth in small businesses. And I wanted to get a sense from you, what are you finding right now to be the biggest challenge to growing your company?
You know, honestly, right now is a very unique time because as you hear about in the news and everything else, staffing is a challenge. Not only hiring the right amount of staff, but getting the right staff as well. People are, and especially in technology where people always jump ship, it's a very tough aspect. And so when you're dealing with growth, there's two pieces to that. One is you don't want to grow so fast that you can't provide the same level of support. You need that support in the sense of proper staff, good staffing in the business to provide that level. We're in IT, so everyone's calling us for help. If I don't have people to help them, it's of no value to do that. The other piece is just getting staffing and people, the right people, in that sales role, in that marketing role. And so that is by far, in today's day where a lot of people have not come back to the workforce, has been our biggest challenge for growth and getting out there. And so,
you know, with my clients in the groups that we have, when we talk about the staffing issue, I mean, it's a very common discussion. And what I've seen in general about six steps to staffing. And I'm going to take you through them real quick and then kind of give me your feedback. Like the first is recruiting. How has recruiting changed with this idea? Because staff is a limitation to your growth. So what have you done, if anything yet, on recruiting staff, and how do you go about recruiting staff?
About 7 to 10 years ago, we realized that the best staff we could find were those that we could sort of train, and implement. And so you're looking for certain types of people, not necessarily those who have those skills. So in that regard, a lot of our staff have started with us as interns, have come right out of college. And so that has been by far our best option in terms of trying to find the right people. Is you're looking for the right types of people and giving them the skill sets they need. Now, obviously, as a business, you want to provide a competitive salary. You want to provide, all the other components, vacation time, sick time, dental, health, etc. So there's a good mix there. So you need to attract the right people, but it's also finding the people. And today, especially as you have the Amazons and everyone else opening up shop, as a small business, we're now competing not only with the government contractors, but the large corporations who are, obviously trying to find that talent as well.
Sure. Yeah. So when you're out there looking and you're interviewing, do you test your employees at all? Because that's been a big topic of discussion, a variety of assessments that we have discussed in some of the peer groups that I manage. How about you? Do you put them through any form of testing?
So when you say testing, you're referring like a DISC profile or?
That's what's a good question because it's really a broad topic. It could be the personality testing like DISC, as you mentioned, or Myers-Briggs or predictive index, those kinds of things. We've been exploring things like everything from aptitude tests to specific skill tests on different software, just a whole variety of things. Have you delved into any of that as yet?
So from the personality perspective, absolutely. That to us is probably the most important.
Okay.
Again, we're looking for the right people. You can learn how to support Microsoft Word, how to support Office 365. Having the right personality, well, you can be taught that as well. It's something that takes place over many years.
Yeah.
And so, we're looking for people who are going to mesh well with others in the office, as well as our clients. Obviously, they need to be able to be trained, and obviously it'd be great if they had certain skill sets. So we're very involved and we want to utilize testing to make sure that they fit from a personality perspective, that they're, cordial people. What differentiates in IT is not who can solve the problem. It's who makes the customer feel good and able to do it quickly.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking for. So we're absolutely in the personality. From a skill set, we're less concerned with that. Now, we do have some basic testing during our recruiting process when we have online sites that test support capabilities, et cetera, but we're really looking at more of the soft skills and less of the hard skills.
Yeah, what I've found over the years is I've used DISC, I've used predictive index. I'm kind of a fan of Myers-Briggs, but we would use that after people were brought on and use that as a communication tool. So in the Myers-Briggs world, I'm an ENTJ, and I was dealing with people who were INTJs, and I couldn't figure out why it took them so long to make up their mind, to make it. Whereas ENTJ, we just default to making a decision. If a decision doesn't work, we go to the next thing. And so we have found that it is really an amazing tool for communication. Have you found, and DISC is very similar, have you found DISC to be that for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I can tell you I'm a DI in the DISC profile. I'm not really familiar with the Myers-Briggs, and you'll find most people who are CEOs and owners tend to be on that strong D side of things.
Yeah.
But absolutely, if you know somebody needs more of the influencing as opposed to just being a task manager and more of so forth, it absolutely makes a sense. And it also allows us to help figure out if you find someone who's not outgoing, you probably don't want them in a customer service oriented aspect. They like to sort of be in the background doing the work. So you got to place that roles. You want somebody who's more aggressive, perhaps in sales. So yes, absolutely. We do think that helps understand the communication and build that culture.
Yeah, that's good. It's interesting you mentioned sales, because that's the one place that of all the areas of business, it is the one place that just about everybody fails at one point or another hiring salespeople. It is really, really tough to do. And it's ironic that the one test that we didn't talk about is the salesperson's personality test. And so I've looked at a few and recommended them to my clients, but it's really fascinating. There's 10, 15 different sales personality types inside sales, phone sales, customer service sales, the hunters, the ones you send out and hunt for business and so forth. And it's really good to know what you have, because what I find with most small businesses, they want that hunter that's going to go out there and just bring back the clients in big groups. It's like rustling them up together like horses, and rustling them together and moving them all towards the firm. So it's interesting. So have you tried any sales assessment at all in your company?
Not beyond things like the DISC profile. So nothing specific to sales. Hiring salespeople has been on my Achilles heel from day one, 20 years now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I had this discussion with my dad, who was a business owner for 35 years, and talking about, and sales was what he did. I'm not the sales type. I'm more the operations guy, the visionary. But it was, back then, people looked at it and said, hey, just give me a commission only. I want to be hungry. I'm going to go out there. And it's not that environment anymore. He doesn't understand that. I've been trying to convince him of, hey, things have changed.
Yeah, things have really changed. Yeah.
But it's a personality aspect. I mean, there are those who want to do that. But yes, it's definitely my Achilles heel. And definitely the biggest challenge in growth has been keeping, or actually even finding, good salespeople.
So we've been, out of the 6 steps that I usually talk about, I'm looking at a little cheat sheet here. Recruiting, testing, which we've talked about, interviewing and testing. Sometimes I blend those two together. Onboarding and training. You had mentioned a little bit of that, like you might bring people right out of college, maybe community college. Have you tapped the community college tech programs at all?
Yeah, actually, we've done community college. Back when ITT, I used to serve on their curriculum advisory board. So, I mean,
Excellent.
we've definitely gone that route. It's been more of a challenge lately, but we have.
And how about training of new staff?
Well, I will say one thing about being in the technology industry is we have a ton of options available for online training. So we typically will bring on staff and they won't touch a customer issue for at least a month. Now they may be brought in, oh, hey, go work with, this colleague and, learn stuff, but they're not going to typically, unless they're coming in from another company that's similar to what we do, they're going to go through that aspect. And so training is a big piece of what we do. We do a lot of online training, and I would say on average, they will spend majority 2 to 3 weeks of just training before they're really onboarded.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's critical. And I will tell you that a lot of business owners skip that step, the training step, and they're trying to bring people on and hope for the best. And, I believe in the assessing and then training. And, if you do the right assessments, where some of the weaknesses are, so you can focus your training. It just makes sense. So that's how we've been moving, we're moving a few people towards doing that. And they've had some great success. And the last piece, obviously you've gone to all this trouble to recruit, to test or assess, to interview, you bring them on, you do the onboarding, now they're trained. I call it the care and feeding of employees, but what is it that you do that keeps your staff ready and willing and able to work for your company and feel good about working for your company?
It's a great question. And up until COVID, things were going spectacular. Yeah. And then someone left who had been with us for 7 years because she just, I won't get into personal reasons, but she had some stuff she had to deal with at home. A couple other people left because of health. One left because of that. And so now I have a very young tenured staff. I still have some longer term people, but it's changed. And so for my staff, which were 30s and 40s, to a very younger staff, I mean, I still have some people in my 30s and 40s, but majority of my staff in IT are young. And it's a whole different ballgame in terms of what do you do. We used to have outings once a month. We'd go and do an annual amusement park day with the families and bring them in. So we're still doing some of those things, but COVID has really shut that. I mean, we'd go out and do dinner in a restaurants, and we do that. So we're still working through that. Twice a month, the entire staff gets together for a lunch, which is either catered or we go to a restaurant. Lately, it's been outdoor seating, but we're working through that because everybody has different comfort levels. We have a program where people get rewarded based upon their interactions with our clients. Or every single time a ticket gets done, they get if they get a great rating, they get X amount of fake dollars, which they can use to purchase gift cards and things like that. Obviously, benefits are important for them. And then training, we're trying to, that has been interesting. With my older generation, training was something they love to do. Oh, I can get a week and go spend on training? Yeah. I don't get that now. Now there's like, oh, why do I have to do this? I'm like, it improves you, it improves the company. And that has been a bigger challenge. So
that's really interesting. You're one of the first people to mention that. And that is a big distinction, isn't it? Because as soon as you said training, I remember my entire life in business, early life, somebody says, we'll send you for 2 weeks of training. Fantastic. I'd love to do that. You mean I don't have to work for 2 weeks? I could just learn stuff. So you find that that's different today, though. That
it is, because I find a lot of people like, well, I have this, or I'm doing that, or I'm outside of work. And so there's that piece. And then there are people who are like, well, why can't I just watch it online? Why can't I just do this? And so, and of course, now with COVID, it's sort of well, online is your only option.
Yeah.
So that has also been a challenge. So yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. We try to do some community service oriented things. All of my staff is, I won't say required, but encouraged to be involved in community events, whether that be chambers of commerce or things like that. So the goal here is that by improving themselves individually and by giving them some fun stuff, they'll want to stay. And obviously compensation, bonuses, and other things that we do, and the gift cards. So hopefully that plays a part. But
yeah, there's a lot more you have to do today than ever before. But you're obviously you're thinking about it. You're juggling ideas around. You're trying different things, and that's what you need to do. Thank you very much. This was great. Some really good ideas. I'm so happy to see that you've really thought through the staffing issue. Staffing is it's going to be repeated over and over again as one of the biggest challenges right now that's inhibiting growth. And it sounds like you've got so much of this already thought through, and then still trying new things. So congratulations to that. Thank you for coming on board today, and I wish you the best.
oh, absolutely, I appreciate you having me.